Yeah, the bum got indicted yesterday. Boy, you would think, given the coverage, and don't misunderstand, I'm not necessarily trying to denigrate the coverage, but when you consider television and the newspapers of Trump indicted, God, it would seem like a headline on these various newspapers and the conversations on television, something like, Jesus has returned, something like that. Okay. Squealing like a pig. That's what Paul Begala says that the conservatives who are whining about the Trump indictment are doing. Squealing like pigs. Claiming that it's political. Oh, for Christ's sake. Of course they're going to say that. This begins another long season of our discontent. Now we have the next chapter of As the World Vomits, the ongoing, never-ending soap opera of this criminal son of a bitch, Donald Trump, and his filthy, rotten family. All of them. And his hangers-on, and his terrorists, and his goon squad, and his brown shirts. Jesus, why didn't we listen to Hillary Clinton? Well, I did. Maybe you did too, and didn't, voted for her. But anyway, he was on CNN last night, Paul Begala. Remember him? He was the one that helped get Bill Clinton elected. Along with him on CNN was a Republican campaign advisor named Alice Stewart. Actually, it was this morning. I'm sorry. It's easy to lose track of time when you are slowly going insane. You know what I'm saying? But Miss Alice was complaining about the indictment of Donald Trump. And she said it looked like a political stunt designed to derail his third presidential bid. Oh, for Jesus Christ almighty's sake. This is what drives me crazy. These right-wingers, these Republicans or Christian fascists or whatever you want to call them. No, it has nothing to do with politics, you crazy people. It has to do with the fact that Trump is a goddamn criminal. Why doesn't that register with these people? And I'm also tired of hearing mainstream media refer to this is the first indictment of a former president in the history of the United States. Well, it's the first time we've ever had a criminal son of a bitch like this guy in office who got caught several times. But Trump lives in Trump world where he's such a victim. Oh, I'm such a victim. Whining, squealing like a stuck pig, right, Paul? Oh, I'm such a victim. Oh, they're hurting me. Send me money, please. Yeah. Anyway, this is a panel with Jim Sciutto and Alice Stewart and Paul Begala. And she said she didn't want to defend Trump, but, the indictment looked partisan. Oh, for Christ's sake. This is what she said. Bear with me. Just a little bit of quotes here, all right? She said, quote, I'm hardly here to defend Donald Trump and the merits of this case, but when you step back and look at the overall narrative of what Donald Trump has been saying and telling Republicans that the judicial system is unfair and there was an unequal system of justice for political adversaries. What? Trump is, of all people in America, Trump has used and abused the legal system to a degree that the goddamn thing should have collapsed by now. And what does she mean, what Donald Trump has been saying? That the judicial system is unfair. Yeah, it's unfair. Not to white males with money. No, I'm afraid not. It is unfair, you psycho Alice Stewart, to people like you. And it's unfair to people of color. And it's unfair to other women, not just you. And it's unfair, and it's unfair, and it's unfair right down the goddamn list. So we're supposed to listen, according to Alice Stewart, we're supposed to listen to what Donald Trump says. It's unfair to him. Oh, it's so unfair. And Ms. Stewart said this, quote, this plays right into what Donald Trump is saying and what a lot of his supporters believe, end quote. Who gives a shit what they believe? They believe garbage. And Trump has set them up. These are brain dead people who have vacuums between their ears. Nothing there. And so Trump just stepped in like any grifter will do and filled that space with bullshit. Oh, my God. And then Miss Alice Stewart went on. She said, quote, "Look, no one would rather Donald Trump get off of the political stage sooner than myself. But this is not the way to do it," end quote. What's the way to do it, dear heart? Huh? Some kind of a physical move against him? No, this is what she said, quote, "Let the voters decide this. And when you have Bragg campaigning and vowing that he's going to take down Donald Trump, this right here, and what we're seeing here just plays into what many people are saying, is the weaponization of the legal system to attack the political adversary and really to advance a political agenda." I would ask this woman, what is Alan Bragg's political agenda? Huh? She has no more of an idea than she knows what day of the week August 29th, 2086 falls on. She has no goddamn idea, but this is what they repeat. This is what they've been taught to repeat. The weaponization of the legal system to attack a political adversary. Blah, 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 blah. So Jim Sciutto at that point turned to Paul Begala and he said, "Are those the facts?" And good old Paul, he practically screamed. He said, "No!" And if they were, every one of those Republican politicians needs to be asked this: what did you say when Michael Cohen was prosecuted for the same crime? You know who prosecuted Michael Cohen? Not a so-called partisan DA in New York. The Trump Justice Department. The Trump-selected U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York. Yeah, well, that's the end of the quote. Yeah, but you know, one thing we have learned, haven't we? I mean, I've learned this over the course of, Christ, ever since Reagan. You don't present facts to Christian fascists. You just don't. Because facts mean nothing. Facts are what the Christian fascists say they are at any given time, and they're subject to editing or complete change as the Christian fascist deems necessary to meet his ever-changing agenda. So Begala went on to say, quote, "The Trump administration indicted Mr. Cohen for the same operative facts, indicted him, convicted him with a guilty plea, and incarcerated him. And now they're squealing like a pig stuck under a gate. But if there's one system of justice, if you're going to indict Bonnie, you've got to indict Clyde." Okay. And then Begala added what I think a lot of us who do believe in justice, not just the justice system, because that's totally fucked, and you know it as well as I do, the so-called justice system in this country. Ask any of our dusky brethren whether or not they feel that the justice system is, in fact, fair. But Begala added this, quote, "Now, I'm not a big fan of this case. Actually, I'm not. I think it's far more consequential what he's alleged to have done in Georgia, pressuring people to turn over the election." And then he added, "If all those distinguished Republican politicians had said the same thing when the same case was brought against Michael Cohen by the Trump administration, they'd have a little credibility." Oh, come on, Paul. There is not a Republican alive who's involved in politics, and I really do mean this, who has any credibility whatsoever. These people are lying son of a bitches. They are Christian fascists. They will do, say, act, pretend anything to get their agenda into law. And their agenda is total suppression, total denial of freedom, take away from women everything that women don't have a right to have. They brought death onto the planet. Jesus. I got so many texts and emails yesterday when it was announced yesterday afternoon. late afternoon after I'd recorded the program. I don't know what you thought when I did the show last night. I thought, what the hell, Malloy? Come on. What about Trump? Oh, screw Trump. But it was such a red letter day, as they say, that even Rachel had to come on MSNBC at 9 o'clock last night. And she made some pretty good points about, now begins the boring part. And Rachel mentioned this, but boring in the sense of how justice proceeds from an indictment to its ultimate conclusion, which is either guilty in a court of law or not guilty in a court of law. But Trump being Trump, the weaselly, grifting son of a bitch, he will use every single process in the democratic system of law to delay. That's his tactic. He doesn't believe in justice any more than Lauren Boebert does, that crazy bitch. So Trump will use every single device open to him. Plus, this is a great fundraising tool for him. Oh, my God. I'm sure his bastard cat piss sons, the adult sons, just sat around after the indictment was announced, just rubbing their hands with glee and jumping up and down and, just doing lines of coke after lines of coke. The one, not Junior, but the other one, Eric, was on Fox last night. And I had to switch over to Hannity's show to see how they were handling the indictment. And sure enough, true to form, there was the brother who looks like walking cat piss. I've never seen anybody look so sick, so effed up as Eric Trump. Oh, my God, this guy. I just wanted to say to him, look, here's a couple more grams. Run in the bathroom, honk them all up at once, bro. Because this guy looks like he's right about to get that one toke over the line. You remember that song? One toke over the line, sweet Jesus. Right. Well, the Trump brothers are known for their voracious inhalations of lady cocaine, right? Girl, right? Huh? And you can tell by looking, I can tell. I don't know if you can or not. But having used my share of cocaine 30, 40, 50 years ago, I can tell you, looking at Eric Trump, that this guy is an habitual, if not addicted, user. And the other one, Don Jr., oh my God. I've tried a couple times to watch him when he's prancing around giving his Nazi-like bullshit for his disgusting old man. I've tried to figure out, okay, what's this guy on? Because obviously he's fucked up. I mean, come on. It's just obvious if you watch him. Now, it may not be obvious unless you've had your share of experience with drugs, but I am assuming that most people who listen to this podcast, I realize we're all too old to do drugs now. I get that. Except reefer once in a while. I get that. We shouldn't even, our age, we shouldn't even be drinking alcohol. We really shouldn't. But we were there, right? What's that saying? If you remember the 60s, you weren't there. Well, that's not completely true. And you say the same thing for the 70s and 80s, too, given how this country went cocaine crazy in the 80s. But anyway, I've tried to figure out what Don Jr. is on. No downers. No, Don Jr. would never come near fentanyl, for example. But boy, does he like to use the speedy drugs. Meth. I'm sure he just eats meth like most people eat jelly beans. Just, where's some more? And he's got that Coke look. No, seriously. If you ever get a chance to see Don Jr. up on a stage, watch his face. Well, his head, really. His head is where you start, and then his face and his eyes. And this will give you all the information you need to know about how effed up he really is. Because a Coke user, to the degree that Don Jr. is, his head will spin. It keeps spinning. So over here, over there, up, down, over here, left, right, left, up, down. And then if you get a little bit closer and take a look at his eyes, and the eyes of a Coke freak are eyes that dart. They're here, they're there. Now, part of that is just a neurological response to the fact that their body is being flooded with a speed-like substance. But also part of it is the paranoia that comes with using cocaine. So his eyes keep darting around because he's looking for the nearest shadow. It might be a narc. Oh my God, well, my dad will get me off. Oh, God, I just can't believe that the last 8 years of my life have been devoured by this Trump soap opera as the world vomits. I just can't. I wish it would go away. But this is going to be with us now, what, another year or two? Unless, well, you know, the potential for violence is in this country right now is more real than it was on January 5th. That's right. Because on January 5th, the people that were going to do the violence knew they were going to do the violence the next morning, afternoon, and they did. But right now, the brown shirts, the little Nazi fucks in this country who worship Donald Trump, who have become just, I don't know, like a brain dead army of thugs. You know that they're organizing their little cells right now. There's going to be blood in the street. I just hope that the blood in the street will be primarily theirs, because I'm also hoping that various state governors or the President of the United States will have to call out the National Guard and shoot these son of a bitches. Am I really saying this? Yes, I am, because I understand how crazy these people are. And if there's one thing I've learned over the course of my life, you can't deal, you can't negotiate, you can't talk with crazy. You can't do it. There's no way, because the crazy person is on a whole different level, a different dimension, a different reality. So trying to reason with or talk to crazy is impossible. And the followers of Donald Trump, especially these militia pricks, have willingly given up their thought processes, their brains, their ability to see truth from fiction. They have signed on with the Fuhrer, just like the German people did in the 30s, late 20s and 30s. Exactly the same thing. This is it. This is what it looks like. You don't have to watch old films on Wikipedia or somewhere online of the surge of Nazism, the rise of Nazism. Just open our eyes right now. Look what's going on. This is it. This is how it happens. Hi, Truth Seekers. Mike Malloy here. You know, the Progressive Voices Network brings you commercial-free commentary from today's leading progressive radio hosts and pundits, like me, Mike Malloy, 24 hours a day. I'm not your typical old guy from the 80s or the 90s talk radio host, and Progressive Voices is not your typical talk radio network. It's a listener-supported nonprofit with no corporate control whatsoever over our broadcast. So hosts like me, Mike Malloy, are free to rant and scream and carry on about whatever we like. We're often controversial, but we're never boring. Weeknights, 9 p.m. in the East, 6 p.m. in the West on the Progressive Voices Network. Always progressive, always on. I'm Mike Malloy. Keep it lit.